At Securitas, our goal is 100% client satisfaction. We want to build a long-term security partnership with every client organization. Securitas serves over 50,000 clients nationwide, representing a wide array of businesses and industries. Since each client has unique security needs, we tailor our services to meet their specific requirements. This is an ongoing process, and the reason why client service is so important to the success of our company. In this video, we'll discuss client service skills that help Securitas provide consistent, top-quality security services. Mastering these skills is essential because you represent Securitas to the client, their employees, and visitors every day. To these people, you signify Securitas, and their perceptions of our company are based on your actions. Every day, you'll have opportunities to make positive impressions on the client, and we want to help you do that. Let's begin by defining exactly what we mean by the client. We refer to the company or organization that contracts our security services as the client. The primary person within that organization who is responsible for the contract, or who we most frequently communicate with, is the client contact. Our client contact is the person who we primarily work with and report to, but he or she is not the only person who is important. Every person you come in contact with while you're on duty, and every person who sees you in uniform, is considered a client as well. Why? Because they can influence decisions made by others who contract security services by telling people what they observed or experienced through interactions with you. This group may include employees of the client company, visitors to that location, or shoppers in a client store. Their impression, as well as comments about Securitas officers and service quality, become part of the client's perceptions about our company. So, for those reasons, we define a client as the company that contracts our services, the client company's employees, vendors, suppliers, and customers, and the public you come in contact with in the course of performing your duties. Now, let's examine a fundamental of service excellence: communication and interpersonal skills. Communicating and interacting with others is obviously an important part of a security officer's job. The way you look and act, what we call your professional demeanor, is part of communication and supports effective public relations. Good grooming, a proper uniform, and a professional image help communicate that you are someone in authority and in control of the situation. This is especially important since employees, visitors, and the general public often turn to a security officer when they need assistance, such as information about proper procedures or help in reporting a safety or security incident. Direction: locating a main lobby, a loading dock, a specific department or business office. And authorization: to enter or exit the property, bring in or remove packages or equipment, or asking to park in a certain location. It's essential that you follow post orders in every situation. If you make an exception, it not only violates security procedures, it affects the entire security team. In all situations, following post orders, communicating well, and interacting appropriately with others help you to be perceived as a professional and competent security officer. Here are some key things to remember when interacting with people. First, present yourself as a concerned and helpful representative of Securitas and the client company. Remember that people are often lost, late, confused, or upset when they come to you. They need you to care, to be in control, and to know what to do. When someone approaches you, look directly at that person. It's not polite to look away from a person who's talking to you. It appears as though you're ignoring the person. By making eye contact with every person, you often can prevent problems, including criminal acts or vandalism. Next, as the person approaches, acknowledge and greet the person. An appropriate greeting would be, "Good morning, I'm Officer Jones. How may I help you?" After your greeting, listen carefully to the person. Ask for clarification if you don't understand, but don't use words such as "huh" or "what." Instead, repeat the portion of the request that you heard, such as, "You have an appointment with whom in the purchasing department? Would you repeat the person's name, please?" Once you understand the request, repeat it to the person to confirm your understanding. You have an appointment with Mrs. Wilson in the purchasing department? Then state what you will do. I'll call Mrs. Wilson for you. You should always willingly provide assistance within the duties outlined in your post orders. However, if a request is made that is not covered by your post orders or that you are unsure about, tell the person making the request that you are going to call to find out how best to help them. Then, follow your post instructions and call the contact person authorized to give you direction. Always keep the person you are assisting informed. If the person needs to wait for information or authorization, let him or her know. If possible, tell the person what you'll do, such as make a telephone call or check with a supervisor to let the person know as much as possible about the situation. Another important point to remember when interacting with people is to be courteous. Courtesy creates a good impression and also makes your job more pleasant and satisfying. Usually, people who you are polite to will, in turn, be courteous to you. As a security officer, a primary part of your job is to help people. Your competence and professionalism will be judged by how well you communicate and interact with others as you help them. Remember that as you interact with people, it's important that they are acknowledged, understood, and feel confident that information given to them is accurate, or that their message will be passed on in a timely manner. Keep in mind these principles for effective communications. Always identify yourself. I'm Officer Jones. How may I help you? When using the telephone, identify the company first, then yourself. ABC Supply Company, this is Officer Jones. How may I help you? Treat all messages as important. Write down all messages and ask the person to repeat the message if you don't get it written down the first time. Also, treat all messages as confidential. A message may not seem private or sensitive, but to be on the safe side, assume that it is. Don't judge the content or meaning of messages, and only give it to the person who is meant to receive it. Most of all, make certain that the message is delivered. This may seem obvious, but many times messages are given to someone other than the person whom the message is for, such as assistants, secretaries, supervisors, or coworkers. These persons may be authorized to get the message to the right person. However, it's a good idea to record the name of the person you pass the message to when it's given to someone other than the person the message is intended for. And most people you interact with as a security officer will be reasonably polite and courteous, but for various reasons there are exceptions. People who are rude, aggressive, or difficult to deal with. A person who is rude to you does not give you the right to be rude in return. Remember that people usually are angry or upset for a specific reason. It may be related to current circumstances or strictly personal. Even though you may have nothing to do with the reason the person is upset, his or her anger may be directed to you as a security officer, simply because you're there. You can diffuse the situation by acting in a professional manner and using the following techniques to calm the person and reduce tension. Remain calm and courteous. Don't fuel the fire of a person's emotions by acting aggressively or with anger of your own. Also, give people space. Avoid getting in the face of another person. Stand back at least an arm's length. If you're stationed behind a desk or reception area, stay there. This is a basic safety rule, as well as important in handling difficult situations. Control your physical gestures. Don't put your hands out toward people, point fingers, or make other motions with your hands or body that may invite aggressive responses in return. Observe the other person's facial expressions and use of gestures. This will help you understand his or her reactions and help you decide how to respond. Look at the person and listen. Let the person tell you about the problem or situation. That will often help calm the person. Once the person begins speaking, acknowledge the person by saying something that's related to the situation, such as, "That's a difficult situation. May I call someone to assist you?" Or, "It's unfortunate that this happened to you. How can I help?" Sometimes a person who is upset will not communicate the situation adequately or will not speak clearly. In that case, ask the person to explain further. You could say, "Tell me more about it," or "Is there anything else you think I should know?" Then, summarize. Tell the person that you understand the situation and advise the person what you will do to assist. Usually, these techniques will help calm down an aggressive person and diffuse the situation. But sometimes, a person may continue to act in aggressive, disruptive, or inappropriate ways. If the person persists, advise the person that such behavior is not acceptable and that if it continues, you're required to take action. Whenever you do this, state specific actions you will take based on your post orders. For example, if you continue, you'll be required to leave. I will be required to call your supervisor, or I'll be required to call the police. Be specific and decisive, but remember to also be calm and courteous. For a security officer, written communication skills are just as important as your ability to communicate verbally. Once an incident of any kind has occurred, you are responsible for documenting it in your daily report, as well as in a separate incident report. Daily report entries are brief statements about the routine duties performed from signing in to finishing a patrol. While it's important to keep accurate and complete daily reports, it's particularly vital to complete an incident report when anything unusual occurs while you're on duty. An incident report is a detailed account of an unusual occurrence and serves several important purposes. To inform our client about the details of an incident, to inform your supervisor and local office management of the details of an incident. They'll both receive a copy. To inform the client about a security violation or potential safety hazard. To protect yourself, our company, and others, including the client in some cases, from potential lawsuits. Incident reports are records that can be used in the future to help determine what happened and can be used in legal proceedings. To demonstrate your alertness and proper conduct in performing your duties according to post orders. And to pass information on to others, including security officers, who may need to know the details of an incident because of its possible effect on their shift activity. For all of these reasons, we have created the incident report form to help you document the information needed in the report. There are 6 standard questions that every incident report should answer. The 6 words are who, what, when, where, why, and how. Use these words as starting points when writing your report. Start off by identifying who was involved in the incident. Then, think of who was notified, who saw the incident, who from our company or the client company should be notified. What happened is also vitally important. Remember to include what was done in response to the incident. Next, state when it happened and when you reported it. You should also state where the incident occurred and why it happened, but be careful about determining why something occurred. Do not guess or assume something happened in a certain way. In some situations, such as a wet floor, it may be appropriate to identify why someone slipped and fell, but other situations may be more complicated. When in doubt, and especially if you believe a person is responsible for the incident, leave out why. If you report the incident accurately, that is more important than knowing why it happened. Finally, state how the incident occurred. This may be uncertain based on what you know and have observed. Again, if you are in doubt, don't try to guess how something happened. Provide as much factual information as you can, and if necessary, leave out how something happened. If you stick to the who, what, when, where, why, and how of any incident, you'll find that it's much easier to complete an incident report clearly and accurately. A well-written, complete incident report helps communicate to others who need to know about the incident and provides an important service to the client. In addition to the 6 questions that incident report should answer, there are 6 basic rules to remember when completing an incident report. If you follow them, the reports will represent you well. First, always print clearly and neatly. Reports that are printed carefully are easier to read. All reports should be clear and concise. Second, use black ink when writing the report. Black ink shows up better on copies that are made and will look neater. Don't ever use pencil to write a report. Pencil entries can be erased or changed, or people reading may think the entry has been changed. Third, do not use liquid paper to correct mistakes. A reader may think that the report has been changed. If you make a mistake when writing a report, draw a single line through it and write your initials by the correction. This will show that you acknowledge the mistake, even though the mistake remains readable. If this makes your report look too messy or hard to read, you should rewrite the report. Fourth, don't use slang, jargon, or discriminatory remarks in the incident report. Tell the story concisely in chronological order. Many people, including the client and your supervisor, will read the report. You want the report to reflect favorably on you, our company, and our client. Fifth, never draw conclusions in the incident report. A suspect should never be referred to as a thief or robber or criminal. This would imply that you have already determined the guilt of the suspect, which you have no authority to do. Simply state the facts as you know them. If a break-in or property damage has occurred, don't guess how it may have happened. Just write the facts. Sixth, proofread the report. This is very important because it will help you correct any errors and confirm that you have included all of the necessary information. High-quality customer service is a powerful force in the security industry and is the foundation of Securitas's success. Serving clients' specific security needs is at the core of everything we do, and the excellent service we provide is all about individual performance. By focusing on the fundamentals of client service, projecting a professional demeanor at all times, demonstrating good communications and interpersonal skills, and writing accurate and complete reports, you can provide the quality of service that makes Securitas a world leader.